Hey everyone, if you love combat sports such as Kyokushin karate, boxing, BJJ, MMA, you name it, hit the like, share, subscribe button to the Drewsperience show, the 100% combat sports show on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Hit the like, share, subscribe button. We're fast growing. We're going up like a stock. So today I want to say, wow, this is a guest back by popular demand. And he came on back in May of last year. I'm so fucking stoked. I'm going to swear here. It's my show. I do what the fuck I want anyways. So I'm going to say it. Back by popular demand, weighing in at 155 pounds. You know him as the Maverick of Kyokushin karate. Here we go. Darren Hitman Chan, welcome back to the Drewsperience.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers for the half-empty water bottle. It ain't wine, but hey.
Having a glass of wine on you, my friend. How you doing? You good?
I'm fucking great, man. It's good to have you back. I'm so
good to be back.
Fucking happy that you're back on here, man.
I'm giving you a hard on.
It's okay, man.
I feel I've a couple of glasses of wine down already. I feel I'm gonna come out with something inappropriate. I'm sorry, my friend.
It's okay. It does that. Let's just try to make sure we got to keep it somewhat appropriate because I don't want to.
Yeah, I'll keep it appropriate. Don't worry. I'll behave. Maverick will behave.
Maverick will behave, yeah, because we got Goose, which is Stringer, and then we have you, which is Maverick, because you do stuff.
Yeah, I've got to try and figure out who. No. So, Darren Stringer is my ice. He's my he's saved my bacon a couple of times, so he's my ice. He's my wingman.
That's true.
That's true. He's wingman.
Yeah, that's true, because you know what, Iceman. That's why Stringer is like Iceman, because Iceman is so by the book, but he does everything perfect too.
By the book, perfectionist. By the book, adored, respected, and then there's the fucker like me, the arsehole, that literally does the total opposite, and Iceman has to save Maverick. But then, like they say in the new Maverick, when he said, who's the better pilot? Don't win a good moment. So we've got that thing going on. But no, he's the man. He's the man. He's the one that's the fifth, sixth dan. He's the one smashing it, and I'm just the one that doesn't stop opening my mouth. So,
well, hey man, no, it's great. It's amazing to see what you guys were doing. You had an amazing interview with Webster's Media. Shout out to Webster. Love that. That guy's a gent. That guy's a gent. He's so good with videos. That man has
he's sexy. He's sexy. That boy.
He really
Are
is.
you both sexy?
Thank you. I got the crimson chin there.
He's cool. He's cool. I've known Carlton a long time, and he did that, and it got a load of hits and likes and things, and I got a lot of response from that as well as your thing as well. So yeah, he's cool. It's cool, and I think what's cool about him is that we've known him a long time. I've trained with him, I've competed with him, and we've got a history there. So it was good fun filming that day, because there was Darren there. There was also Sammy from One Kyokushin. He was there as well, obviously because it was for One Kyokushin, and it was a funny day. So it was good fun doing that.
That was a really good interview, because I watched yours and Stringer's. Sammy was just introduced, but I think Sammy's just the kind of guy that just show the face, but I'm not going to say much because I'm the one that's doing.
Yeah, I think what I like about Sammy is he's really quite. He's a very lovely guy.
Yes,
a gent, and but he comes across a bit shy, and he's which is very endearing as well. And you think he's, like you say, he's got all this following. He's got a massive thing with One Kyokushin, but he's actually quite a shy guy, which is very sweet in itself. He's just a really nice guy, and I think when he had the camera in front of him there, he was a bit like, I'll just say hi, and that's it. So, but he's a lovely. Sammy's a wicked guy as well. And he's doing a lot for all of us with Kyokushin, but then also, like I said on that interview, the fighters of yesteryear, the fighters that are finished, retired. You see a lot of these fighters that just disappear into the wilderness. You see it, and you turn up and people go, oh, that guy over there or that girl over there. You think, oh, really? And I think with today's day and age, with social media and videos and phones and stuff, you get remembered, but also you can not stay current, but you can be remembered. You can be remembered. So I think with Kyokushin, you spend your life, particularly Kyokushin, you spend your life doing it, or if you have spent your life doing it. and then you're so passionate about fighting. A lot of us do the knockdown, obviously. You're passionate about that, and I think sometimes, for me personally, it's quite sad when you see really good fighters and all of a sudden they're just ostracized or they're just out in the put out to stud, and no one talks, not necessarily talks to them, but they're just kind of forgotten a bit.
Mm-hmm.
They're not as celebrated, and we had when we were all together in the BKK, the IFK. We had, so my coach, one of my main coaches, Graham Warden, Noddy, his brother Timmy and Paula, his wife, they weren't married at the time, but those two became world champions in 1997 in Russia. Now, Russia, to become a world champion in the IFK World Tournament in Russia, that's a big thing. But they kind of weren't celebrated. They kind of weren't celebrated. And you know what? I'm not in the BKK or the IFK now, so I don't care. But they weren't celebrated. And years later, if you said to people, and no disrespect to Timmy and Paula, and this is what I think sad, you said to people, oh, Timmy and Paula Warden, they go, oh, who? And you think these guys should be brought back to award, present people with trophies, and they should be sat at the top table, and Timmy and Paula should be refereeing the last fights and stuff, because they are our world champions, or were our world champions. And so I just think things like that, it's a little bit sad. But one Kyokushin, I'm waffling on now, that's mine. One Kyokushin and things like that, it helps people stay up there and people's memory banks.
It really does. Also, another example would be Michael Thompson, K1 legend. And, Michael Thompson, just disappeared. And, KRT was trying to bring him back. Like, they were doing it. They were going really hard. They even Felix, shout out to Felix. Felix was saying, Michael, come back and just tell your story. You don't have to do any training. Just give your story so we can celebrate you.
Everyone knows my love for Michael and my respect for Michael, and I trained a long time with Michael, and I think like I said in the last interview, I think either with you or with Carlton, my then instructor got beaten by Michael in the final of the I think 89 British, and I remember thinking, okay, that's the guy to beat the guy. Who's that man? And then just following his career, seeing Felix come up through the ranks and smashing it, seeing Michael. But it was Michael. I'd seen Michael for a few years as a young kid, and I think he was the one that I wanted. He was the one that I wanted to go and train with, Michael Thompson. That was it, Michael Thompson. And so finally, a few years later, I got the chance to train with him, and the shit that I learned from Michael, and obviously Felix was part of that as well. So Felix and training with Felix and Michael. Michael was fighting for Andy Hugg's team still and doing all the K1 stuff, and so they were bringing me in to spar Michael, and I just used to think, as a young kid, thinking, God damn, this is Michael, this is the legend Michael Thompson. You got the legend that's Felix Tomaso as well. What the fuck am I going to do? But again, because I was a bit unpredictable with the legs, I was like, no, come down. You got to come down. You must come train with us. But the shit that I learned from that was unbelievable. And just a really nice guy. You have you around his house, with his wife and kids to have dinner and stuff, and have food between training sessions. But then again, like you say, I opened the gym 2004, and I brought Michael over from Ireland to open a gym for me, and he did. And but I think he was, it's not for me to tell his story, and I don't know too much of the story. I just know bits. So again, it's not fair for me to say a story. That's for his. But from my point of view, you just think, fuck, this guy is a legend, like Felix, and Nick DaCosta and Noddy, these guys. But Michael, the stuff that Michael did, who he fought, the guys that he fought, what he achieved, how he did it, his flair, the way he did stuff as well, and then gone, wasn't around. So, I feel sorry for the karateka that was coming through that could have benefited from Michael coaching him. I feel sorry for, people not getting coached by him at tournaments. Well, and I feel sorry for Michael that, he spent his life, dedicating his life to karate, and then that's it, done, forgotten.
He went Marvin Hagler on us. He Haglered the whole martial arts world, and just became a famous physiotherapist, I believe. Like
Yeah, yeah. Last time I heard on when I spoke to him last, he's a physio. I think he still is that. I think I haven't spoken to him in years now. I think from what Felix was saying last time we spoke about him, doing really well with the physio thing. You know, he's doing a lot of like rugby teams, and we're talking world class rugby teams and stuff. So he's doing his thing, which is nice. But yeah, the whole thing. I mean, that's a perfect example. That's a perfect example. He's probably next to Nick DaCosta and Felix. You know, he's probably one of the most decorated fighters to ever come out of Britain. And the way he did it as well, and to not have him, you just think for the fighters coming through the ranks, like me when I was coming through, Darren and all the others that were coming through the ranks, what would have been if we had his input as well? If we'd had him there. I mean, we all did all right and well, and with who we had, and that's not taking it away from who we had, because they were amazing. But it's just sad. I think everyone can bring something different to the table, and I think with Michael, I mean, it goes without saying that the what he has to offer, is second to none. Is you can't buy that. So then for just to be gone, not passed down, nothing. It's just sad. It's just sad on everyone's part. His, karate, but I think karate left a real foul taste in his mouth, and that was it. I don't know. Again,
it's his
get him
story.
on. Let him tell his story, man. And it'd be interesting to listen to his story. So
I think it would be, but there's and then you have like what one Kyokushin does that's so good is like they show the greats, like the Kurbanovs, the Fihos, the Globe Feitosas, and the Judd Reeds. So it's nice to see that like Sammy's like showing the past, the present, and now the future too. It looks like there's so much of these new dojos just popping up out of nowhere, and it's like, whoa, it's like, where were you before?
Yeah, there is. And also as well, what's really nice is, like you just said, some names there, Fatoza and Filio, and the Kurbanov, some of the bigger names. You went back, even me now, I'm 45, 15, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, social media wasn't about like it is now. So you hear of the big names, and you tend to hear of those names over and over again, because again, if you have a top fighter that goes out, normally the top fighter will win or place, and so you get to hear that name. But I think with today's social media and stuff and things, there's so much more that you see, and so many more people that you can follow, which is cool. I mean, there's people that I follow now that I see from different countries and stuff, and you think, oh shit, that's that kid again. And that kid might not have won as much as a Fatoza, as a Filio, or those sort of fighters, but you're following them because you think, oh, I like this kid can do this, or that girl can do that, or I've seen this guy. Oh, I wonder how. So you watch their training videos, and then you see their tournament stuff as well. They post it because everyone's just posted, aren't they? So you tend to see a lot more karateka, I think, now. So I think as a karate fan, which I am, I was always a karate fan first before I was a fighter when I was a kid, and I think so. Now it's good for the fans. And it's good for when you're following karate, because you can see so many more people. It's not just the big names that you always hear of now. So back in the day, you hear someone did really well in a tournament, you wouldn't see it, because where would you see it unless someone had a video?
We didn't have YouTube. You had to wait for like a video or someone to
video. Yeah, that's what
it.
I mean. Yeah, and if they videoed it, they might not have videoed it. So there's so much talent coming through. But equally, there's so many clubs opening, just wishy-washy clubs opening as well. So, 1 minute they're a yellow belt, the next minute they're a 5th dan, 8th dan, and opening the club and teaching people. You think, so there is that side of things as well. But I don't think you're never going to get away from the dojos, are you?
No.
So you're never going to get away from the dojos just open and they don't really know what the fuck they're doing. So I don't know. It's interesting.
It is. What I like about your style too is that because karate first, but you're also a boxing coach, and you're a successful boxing gym owner. And what's interesting is like when you do karate, I've envisioned you like when I say, okay, Hitman knows karate, but he must have better hands than most karateka, because when you think of karate, it's like punch, punch, like rock'em sock'em, but you know how to like flow it more. And a
Yeah.
lot of senseis, like not a lot, but some say no, don't mix in boxing. That's not good. But then there's some like, no, you have to mix in the
Yeah.
boxing.
Okay, I'll put this out there and then see if I get shot down. Okay, I think I'm a karate guy through and through. I've always started in karate. I'll end with karate, and then I'm karateka. Like anything though, I do think it has its drawbacks, and I think the rigidness of karate, and some of the applications of karate don't always, you could say that about a lot of martial arts, don't really suit certain situations. When once upon a time I used to work on nightclub doors and things like that, and you can't really drop into a Zenka Zadachi and throw. I mean, the traditional. Yes, all right. When you do the applications, the fighting form, it's a bastardization of the proper application. But I have always been in love with boxing. Boxing's been in my family. I've always been in love with boxing, and I boxed as a kid, and there is a sense of I do love the realism with the boxing. I do love you get punched in the face straight off, and people say this a lot with karate. It annoys me. It used to annoy me a lot more, but you do that knockdown, but you don't punch in the face, do you? No, try and get a kick to the face, though, mate. At whatever speed that's registering at. And that used to annoy me, but I do love the boxing, and I think if you can, I went into K1 or K1 rules fighting again, following the Michael Thompsons, the Andy Huggs that I was looking up to when I was coming up through the ranks, and I think that having it, if you're able to mix it, then you're just going to be a better fighter. If you're able to, it depends what you want to do. I mean, would you move like that and rolling and slipping and stuff on a knockdown mat? No. So it depends what you want to use it for. I mean, it's no harm learning it and having it. I think, and if you're a student of karate where you have done it for a long time and you're able to pick up katas and you're able to adapt and things, then I think when you start to implement boxing into your training, you can adapt to that and learn and take aspects. It's going to sound cheesy now, but if you think of Bruce Lee, how he did his thing where he just took ideas. I mean, look at it at the beginning of the Dragon, they're basically doing MMA.
Yeah.
So him and Sammo Hung, they're in their little pants and their little MMA gloves doing MMA. And I think, I don't do jiu-jitsu or anything like that. So I wouldn't know what to do on the floor. So lately I've been thinking, okay, maybe I love martial arts. Maybe I'll start learning a bit of that just for a bit of fun. And also, never know, if someone tried to go for me and put me on the floor, I wouldn't know what to do. So it'd be nice to learn a bit of that as well. But I do love. It's not for everyone, the boxing side of things, but I do love the boxing.
People get too in love with their hands, and then they think that they can become a world beater, but then it's like, there's other facets that you really need to understand with using your fists.
Yeah. And you used to get punched in the face all night long.
Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face, as Mike Tyson says.
Mike Tyson said, "That's right. And it really is. You can be sparring. Now, I remember sparring. I think, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Then whack. And you think, oh God, and you're sparring a guy that's seriously heavy-handed, and just survival mode kicks in rather than trying to do your thing. But then that comes with experience. You then start to learn to deal with that, live with that, and then you're able to do what you do, So I just had a lot of fun. I just like fighting. So Dad was a big boxing fan. He's boxing in my family, and so I was always in love with boxing. I probably watched boxing before I even thought about karate when I was a kid, and then Dad took me to karate. But I always sat with Dad and watched boxing, and he loves his football. My dad, as do I, but we were a big boxing family. We were, the big fights. He'd be like, "Why?" Sitting up watching Tyson.
Did you watch Hagler versus Minter back in the '80s? Because I know, I've
seen it now, but yeah, what was it, 1980? I think it was. My dad watched it. My dad watched it, and I went to school with Minter's son. Ross Minter actually was he was a year below me at school. So his
Oh.
son was in our school. So you turn up to school and my dad would be like, that's Ross Mint, that's Alan Minter's son. And at the time when I was a kid, I'd be like, who? And he'd be like, that's Alan Minter. And again, YouTube wasn't about when I was a kid when the dinosaurs were roaming when I was a kid. And so now I sit there and go, shit, Alan Minter would have been at the school gates. Shit, Alan Minter. I'm undisputed king, Alan Minter. So I didn't really appreciate it then because I was a kid. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, he was there. But obviously, my granddad. I think did my granddad take my dad there or something like that. My granddad was the boxer in the family, and it was awful. He got pelted with Hagler got pelted with coins and stuff because he smashed up Minter, done a number on him. It was a smash and grab, did a number on him.
Minter didn't help his cause either when he's like, I'm not gonna lose. Like, I mean, it was
So,
trash talk, but he said, I'm not gonna lose. Quoting, and don't cancel me, guys. This is not my words. Minter infamously said, I'm not gonna lose to a black man on home soil.
it's funny because there was a debate on Facebook the other day. There's a guy, Ben Doughty, he's a writer. He's a boxer, he's a writer as well, and that all came about. And apparently, the debate was the debate was it wasn't denying the fact that Minter had said that. It was someone had said he'd said it on TV, and they said no, he said it in a gym and in an interview. So there's a little bit of a cloudy area there, but yeah, as legends has it, or as folklore has it, he said he wouldn't want to lose his title to a black guy. Hagler absolutely destroyed him. And then I think, was it Wembley Arena?
Wembley Arena, 1980.
1980. Tell you what, look at this. Check this out. It's how much of a boxing fan I am.
I know you're like a finicato like me with MMA. Like I could like look up all the events.
But randomly, you just said that. There was no pre-settings to this conversation like that. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Alan Minter
And Marvin Hagler. Yeah. Wow. Look at that, guys. This is history right there. This is why Darren Hitman Chan is a history teacher of boxing. He doesn't have a PhD in it, but he knows his stuff. Don't doubt him.
There you go. The middleweight championship of the world, Alan Minter from England versus Marvin Marvelous Hagler, USA, Saturday, the 27th of September, 1980 at Wembley Arena.
Damn.
There you go. And it was presented by Harry Levine and Mickey Duff. There you go.
Yeah.
Boom. I collect these boxing cards. So,
that's amazing. You got to.
I had that one out the other day. So.
That's amazing. Wow. What are the odds? Like in our conversation, that's crazy. That was if you ever like, I'm sure Marvin Hagler and you've watched did you ever watch the board film documentaries on YouTube? Like there's this guy named Joe Vincent.
Uh-huh.
It's called Board Films, and he gets famous boxers. Like he's got Hagler, he's got the Sugar Ray, Sugar Ray Leonard, he's got Tyson, it's Ali, what's his name? The Hearns, Eddie Hearns, and the Roberto Duran. Like he made these amazing documentaries. It's like, and it gets this generation to understand like who were these guys. Don't pay attention to the Tyson Furies, the Canelos.
Yeah. The four kings, they're my favorite. I mean, my hero is Nigel Benn, and he was coming in just at the end of some of their careers. There's a famous thing I watched the other day, Nigel Benn sparring Roberto Duran, and Duran was it's a prime Nigel Benn, and Duran was just making ease of the sparring session. But I was fortunate enough with my boxing circles. I met the Hitman. I met Hearns, which was amazing. David Hay was doing a signing at a football club in Milton Keynes. And it was one of those Comic-Con type things. And they had boxers there as well, randomly, signing stuff. So you had Calzaghe there, him, Michael Watson. And then we went for lunch, and I was like that. And David was like, what's the matter? Thomas Hearns. Tommy Hearns. Tommy the Hitman Hearns. And I have a love affair with Kronk and the ideologies and the thought process and things that Emmanuel Stewart basically put into that gym is what I try to follow, and the methodology in my gym. And I've had a love affair with Emmanuel Stewart and Kronk. Or I felt a connection to it for a long time. And then I was lucky enough to work with Andy Lee, who went to the Kronk gym and worked with Emmanuel Stewart. And so I learned a lot of stuff from Andy, Emmanuel Stewart's pads and stuff, like what he used to teach Andy. So I managed to meet Hitman Hearns and the whole Kronk thing. I was just like, damn. And then my friend's friend owns a nightclub in London. I said, look, we're doing an event. Would you like to come? Big boxers coming. Oh, who's that? Roberto Duran. So we went up and met Roberto Duran and his son in town as well. So I've met 2 of the 4 kings. Sadly, I won't meet one of them now. But I live in hope to meet Sugar Ray, because that would be just amazing. Amazing. Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Sugar Ray in his prime and Floyd Mayweather in his prime. Who wins?
Ooh, that's such a tough question.
I'm interviewing you now.
Okay. Ooh,
this is the Darren Chan experience, interviewing Drew.
I want to say, you know what? I'm gonna say Prime Sugar, and that's because I feel Sugar Ray had like this style that was very, very. It was a very hard style to keep up with. Like, look, I'm not a boxing aficionado like you by any means, but I mean, my mom has a picture with Sugar Ray, like when she was in Bermuda. And my mom's like, you got to watch this guy if you're into martial arts. And I used to watch some Sugar Ray highlights. So I would say Sugar Ray, because Sugar Ray just had something different about him. He had this flow to him that was different from Floyd.
But also as well, this is how good Sugar Ray was. Okay, so I used to work for a guy called Adam Booth, who's a world famous boxing coach. I used to be his assistant coach, and he trained David Haynes. Anyway, he met Sugar Ray Leonard. And Sugar Ray Leonard is his hero. I think Sugar Ray Leonard for him is the Nigel Benn for me. And he asked him a question, and he said, when you fought Hearns, he said, you were losing the fight and you changed your style. What was your thought process? And you think to yourself, Hearns, this guy, like Duran and like Hagler, were like just on you. And at the time, that era, like Mugabe, the Beast Mugabe, those fighters were just, you didn't have time to think or do anything. It was just barbaric. They were just real wars. And he said that, apparently he said to Adam Booth that he came out and he said, as he was walking out to the ring, he was saying, Sugar Ray Leonard, he said, who would beat Tommy Hearns? Who would beat Tommy Hearns? Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali would beat Tommy Hearns. So if you watch the first part of the fight, he's moving around like Ali, but it wasn't working for him. So he said through the fight, I think it was over halfway, he realized, he sat in his store and thought, nah, this is not working. I'm gonna have to adapt. And what I thought was just amazing, that he could be in a fight with Tommy Hearns, as someone that's just, Tommy Hearns, and you're able to adapt during the fight, take stock, realize that you're losing the fight, like appreciate that and be like, okay, I've got to do this. And he was able to change. And I think, have we seen Floyd do something like that? I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want to get shot down here, but have we seen Floyd be in trouble in a fight where he has to adapt big time? Really adapt big time, where he's losing the fight and then come and put it back out the water. But I don't know. I don't think we have. So I think Sugar Ray for me beats Floyd.
Yep, I think so too. He really could. He knows how to shift the gears, and he knows how to improvise when needed. That's why you need to have that IQ. Look what happened with him after he lost to Duran the first time. Came back and just made a mockery of Duran in the no mask fight, and then
no mask, the famous no mask fight. Exactly. So, again, you lost that fight to Duran, so all that pressure's on you. And I mean, I fought with pressure, nothing like that. So you just think the eyes are on you, the whole world is on you. You've lost to Duran, and they go, let's do it again. So. I just think he was the full package. I think he was the man. He was the man.
Really was. And speaking of which, because you said you love Nigel Benn was a hero to you. You've met some
Mm.
big names yourselves. What was the one where the saying goes, "Don't ever meet your heroes because you'll be disappointed." Have you ever experienced that with like some big names?
Yeah, I'm gonna say a big name now.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. Lennox Lewis.
Oh,
Yeah, and I know David's really good friends with him, so I'm probably gonna get shut down. But it's your own experience. But I was at a party one night with David, and he came in. He was a bit rude to me. I thought should never have met you, man, because I followed you round to different countries. I sat up paying for your goddamn fights. And it was a little rude. I was like, and I actually said he was a little rude, and I actually said, well, all right, okay, there's no to be rude. He went, oh, look, listen, little man, sorry. I was like, little man, and I was like, okay, and he said something, and I was like, wow, gutted, disappointed now, really disappointed. So yeah, that was the one I shouldn't have met,
it
unfortunately.
happens.
And I'm sure he's probably a very nice guy. Well, do not shoot me down. He's probably having a bad day.
Yeah.
He's probably a very nice guy, and he's probably, he's adored and loved by everyone. I just happened to maybe get the shit end of the stick. Maybe just had a bad day, and yeah. So I was a bit gutted about that, but that's the thing now. Now that that's happened, I can't now unsee that or forget that now. So I'm like, oh. So every time he comes on TV, I'm like, motherfucker was rude to me. So yeah, I'm a bit like that now. But you can't take away what he did. You can't disrespect what he achieved.
No.
And like I said, he's probably just having an off day.
Yeah, that's the thing, because like these guys, they get so much. They have so much. They're in a different world compared to us regular Joes. Like for
Yeah,
example, I'm friends with like some guys that are pro fighters, and I asked, and and I kind of realized like they're different from us. Like they do these interviews, they have to live a different life, and I realized
yeah,
sometimes like when I respond, like one of my friends, like one of them is like a Bellator guy that I'm friends with, and sometimes like he just doesn't respond, and I'm like, no, he's not being rude. It's just that
mm,
what, he's probably had a hard training. He's probably got a lot of pressure on him, and you got to realize too, like maybe I just caught him on the bad day. So as you said,
yeah, exactly. And I think and that's why I can't really hold it against him too badly, because I've seen David where he's again tired, ratty and hungry, and he's got the pressure of the world on him. He's probably had about 20 interviews that day, and then he's eating something. I've seen him eating something, and someone will literally he's like going out. Someone's actually like grabbing his hand to go, "Can I have an autograph?" He's like, "I'm eating," and so that could be perceived as a bad experience for that person. But I've been on the other side where I've been with him all day. I've seen the shit that he's had to take and do and tie and ratty. Just sat down to eat, and someone's like,
yeah,
autograph. So, and then that person might be saying, well, I'm saying, yeah, I had a bad experience with David Edwards, but I get it. So that's why with the Lennox Lewis thing, I'm a bit like, a bit disappointed. But you have to sit there and go, he might have got asked for 500 autographs that day and pictures, and then I've sort of, I was like, can I get a picture? Jeez, that's Lennox Lewis. No, yeah, and you think to yourself, yeah, he just probably had a bad day,
yeah.
enough.
Where does Lennox Lewis rank for you in the heavyweight greats? Because a lot of people seem to have never been a fan of him, but there's some that are, like, who really appreciate boxing. And why do you think people just were never came to like Lewis? Do you think it's because he's the one that beat Tyson that everybody loved, or?
I think with Lennox Lewis, when you say that a lot of people don't like him, are you talking in people in general, or are you talking about Americans or English?
I think a
The
bit of
reason why
both. I think Americans. I say Americans.
the reason why I say that is because he represented Canada.
Hmm.
So I think he was yeah. So he was born there. Then he was fighting for Britain years later. Representing flying our flag. And I think there's some people like he went and fought for Canada. He's now here, and people here like people in Canada are like, now he's there. He was fighting for us. So I think there's that. There's a bit of beef with that. I think people just need to get over themselves. It's what it is. I mean, David wore a Jamaican flag at one point. Who does that offend? And a Turkish flag, because Adam Booth was Turkish. So at one point I had a Mauritian flag on my gi because I wanted to, represent my dad's country, just to pay a bit of respect to where my heritage and background. So I just think people get a little bit funny of that. But in terms of Lennox Lewis, but oh man, you can't take it away from him. He was up there, man. He was up there. So was he? He'd done it all, undisputed heavyweight champion. And the manner in which he did it, I think that the Emmanuel Stewart and him, they created a style behind that jab where it was hard to penetrate his defense. That jab. Some respects, it kind of nullified a lot of the fighters because he was just jabbing their head off. Like David Chua, when he fought David Chua, it was like another Mike Tyson, just banging everyone out. He just nullified David Chua a little bit. For Vitaly Klitschko, let's not forget, although he was losing on the scorecards, and it was Lewis's last fight, Lewis put something like 80 stitches in a man's face, had to have the fight stopped. So he was the real deal, and he done it all, fought them all, did it all. I think it would have been interesting to see him fight Mike Tyson, 89 Mike Tyson, rather than 2002 Mike Tyson. So that's when they fought, 2002. So it would have been interesting seeing him fight 1989 Mike Tyson. But then was Lewis at 1989? It's a timing thing. It's a timing thing. Again, we've just mentioned David Haye. Would David Haye bang out Tony Bellew in 2009? Yeah, absolutely. Destroy Tony Bellew in 2009. Could David Haye destroy Tony Bellew in 2017? No, or not so much. 2017, that's a little bit harsh because he snapped his Achilles. But 2018, no, he couldn't. And I think it's just a timing thing, age, the wear on the body, the wear and tear on the body. And I think Tony Bellew wasn't the Tony Bellew in 2009, but then David Haye wasn't the David Haye in 2018. So it's a timing thing. But so with the Tyson thing and the Lewis thing, I think Lewis, just to have him on his resume, to have him on his CV, he was relevant around his time. So to have Mike Tyson on your curriculum vitae is definitely the thing to have. But it wasn't listen, you saw that fight, didn't you? It wasn't the Tyson that he was back in the day.
Yeah, Lennox famously said that, like, he goes, like, I wish I got the 89 Tyson because he goes, because that Tyson was the one that had like the lawsuits, been in jail, all the distractions. He was with Don King at the time, the Don King Mike Tyson.
Robin Givens fucked him over left, right, and center as well, the actress. So he had all that shit, the Desiree Washington rape thing and all that. And I think it just spiraled out of control. I think that if you listen to the stories, read and look at it all, I think Don King was the perfect catalyst for him to get himself into the place that he did. He was happy to just let him do it and help him do it, type thing, and put the people around him that was gonna let him do that as well.
All enablers. That's where Customato was worried about.
And when Cuss had him, Customato had him, and he was that Tyson. Even for a year or two after he died, he was still there doing it. And then I've heard a story. I don't know whether it's true. I heard a story when he fought. Who did he lose to?
Buster Douglas.
Buster Douglas in Tokyo. I heard he was out like partying till like 4 or 5 in the morning the night before. I don't know whether there's any truth in that whatsoever, but that's the story that I heard, that he was out like in a party in Tokyo, like giving it large before his fight.
Do you remember that infamous interview where he looked like a sedated tiger, and with Robin Givens and Barbara Walters, and Barbara's like asking Mike, like, yes, and yes. It's like
yes,
this, it's like, you guys, it's like he looked like he was in some comatose from sedation. I don't know what they need. It was really hard to watch that interview.
It was awkward as well, wasn't it? Yeah. It's as though someone just said, look, just don't say a word. And Robin Givens was just spouting on. And you just think, oh man, just no. Yeah, it wasn't a good look. I think, that Tyson then, he would have given anyone in any era. I mean, you know, people go on about. I've got a picture in the gym. It's just a fake picture, obviously. Same one that Dino from Fish Street's got as well. Is that what would have happened? It's Mike Tyson versus Ali. So you sit there and you think that would be interesting. It would have been an interesting fight. People go, "Oh no, Ali would have beaten him." You can't say that. You can't say that he would have just smashed up, banged him out. I mean, Ali, you know, he did beat Fraser, but he also lost to Fraser. So and Tyson was small and got underneath and powerful, and yeah, it would have been very interesting. It would have been an interesting fight. And I think that Tyson was a throwback fighter. Tyson was old school. He used to watch the videos. He was a real disciple and student of the art, and he used to sit and watch Dempsey and all those old fighters, Jack Johnson, Dempsey, Cunny. He used to watch all of the old fighters and try to emulate those fighters, and that's why he used to come out in the black boots with the no socks and things like the old school fighters. And he was a throwback of the sort of the 1920s, 30s, 40s type fighter. And I think he would have given everyone in the heavyweight division. If you get what would be really interesting now is to have Bill and Ted's phone box and to go back. I'm chatting absolute shit now. I've got through that one. Is to go back to 1989, get him, go right, and just go right. We're going to go there. We're going to fight the 1975 Muhammad Ali. We're going to fight the 1995 Lennox Lewis. We're going to go fight. And just see how, just as a boxing fan, it'd just be interesting to see how he would have pitted himself against every single fight. And I think that Tyson would have done the number on a lot of them. I think.
Yeah, it's very, very true. It's interesting. And then you have now like Tyson Fury, you have the Canelos. How do you feel about the state of British boxing with having the heavyweight champion Tyson Fury? Like, how do Brits feel about him, honestly?
Everyone loves him. And I do. Here's a bold statement. He's going to go down as one of the greatest. Next to Ali. He's won it all.
Mm-hmm.
He's backed up his statements and won it all. He's been a little bit vulnerable at times, as did Ali when he, got his jaw broken in the fight, got dropped, lost. He's been that guy, but he's equally got up and carried on and won the fight. He's managed to back up his statements. So there's the first thing. As far as English fighters concerned and representing Great Britain, he's done it. He's done that. That's the second thing. He then obviously once he won, it was well documented about the struggles that he had mentally, and his mental health and things like that. And I think he allowed the world to see him where he was at his lowest, and how he then came back and turned his life around, and then won it all again. And I think he's an advocate, and he really does represent mental health. He's a strong campaigner with the mental health side of things, and I think he's just all right. Like all boxers, they say and do things that are always not the right things to say and do. But again, ones of yesteryear did it. Ali and people. Some would say that what Ali did when he refused to be drafted into the army to fight in Vietnam, and the stuff when he was, a big advocate for Malcolm X and that, people would look down upon that. So these boxers do things and say things that not everyone's going to be happy with, but it's their own path, it's their own life, and they got to do what they want to do. I think that they get a lot of stick. As soon as they say something, they get a lot of stick. But Tyson Fury, I said to my dad a long time ago, Tyson Fury will come back and win it all. He has come back and won it all. He's getting a lot of stick now. He's getting a lot of shit now for not fighting Usyk. But I've been on the inside, so to speak, and I've seen these guys put their life on hold, put their life on the line. They're putting their lives. Some fans don't. If they've never fought, they don't appreciate this. They're putting their life in danger for our entertainment. And, they equally have a shelf life as well. So Tyson Fury is calling the shots, or it has been suggested that Tyson Fury is calling the shots, and he wants a 70-30 split purse. And this is why the negotiations are broke down. This is why the fight is off. I don't know whether that's true. I don't care. None of my business. But I just think to myself, whilst they're in that life and they're doing that, why wouldn't you try to get as much as you can out of it? And, you know, because once it's done, it's done. But equally, people are saying, oh, yeah, but Usyk holds all the belts. But Fury's the personality. Fury, yes, from a sanctioning point of view, from a business point of view, yes, Usyk has all the belts. Yes, Fury, you should just fight him, beat him, and then they do a rematch if you want to do that. But you know, if he's going to try his luck and try and get all that money, then why not? Why not? And good luck to him. And good luck to him. So I do think he beats Usyk though. I think he beats Usyk. And people are saying he's scared. He's not scared. This is a guy. This is a traveller. This is a guy from the Gypsy community. And I don't know if you know much about the traveling community.
Natch educated. Snatch educated me on that.
Okay, so these guys fight. They just fight. They fight on sites and things like that, and they just embrace fighting, and they love fighting. And I've got a lot of travellers. You get a lot of travellers in the amateur game as well. And a lot of people have their views about the traveling community. I love being around travellers. I get on 9 times out of 10 with all of the ones that are coming to the gym, that have been around the boxing and stuff like that, and they love to fight. Every traveller who's come in the gym so far for me, everyone that's walked through the door, they can fight. Andy Lee is Fury's cousin, and I work with Andy. That boy can fight. That boy can fight, and he's soaking his brother and all that. And so he's doing well for the traveling community as well. And so when this bullshit comes out, Fury's scared of Usyk. He's a traveller. He's a traveller. He's a traveling man. He's not scared of anyone. So these guys will fight and girls will fight any time of the day. Any time of the day. There'll be 10 pints down, but yep, okay, let's go then if you want to go. So he's not scared, and he's been born and bred into that. And I think he could, he's getting on a bit now. He's getting on a bit now, and he's not been as active. COVID fucked a lot of things up, but he's not been as active. So maybe it's his time to bow out. I don't know. It'd be nice for him to bow out on top, I think. But I think he's great, and I really like him. I hope he stays for a few more years, and I hope he absolutely destroys Usyk. I hope he absolutely destroys AJ, and I hope he retires with a big cigar in his mouth, going like that to everyone. So, that'd be a nice fitting ending to his career.
That would be an amazing ending. So now switching it up to, I would ask this. We have our James Bond talk, because we've had our we've had very good Bond discussions, when we chat, when we're not recording our podcast. And I want to ask you, who do you think the next Bond is going to be? And who do you think Christopher Nolan should direct the franchise moving forward?
Christopher Nolan. Remind me again what Christopher Nolan.
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight. Okay, sorry, don't shoot me down, okay. Batman fans. I don't know. I think I'm not really. I mean, yeah, all right. You've got to have a good director, haven't you? I mean, I think if you've got someone like Nolan who's done things like Batman and stuff like that, they're all going to be good. I think the Bond the problem with the Bond franchise is, the problem is you always compare the Bond to the ones that have gone before him. You always do. He's not as good as Sean Connery. He's not as good as Pierce Brosnan. He's not as good as that one. But that one did this. That one did that. And what I liked about Daniel Craig is he just brought a total different element to Bond. You had the blonde blue eyes, and he was just really gritty. When he first came in, I think as time went on with with Craig, they started to bring in Q, and they started the gadgets and the jokes. But the first one, where he was a bit of a blunt instrument, and he didn't really know whether to kill people or not, and he was pissing M off. See, I'm a big fan of. He's pissing M off and just going out killing everyone and just being a bit of a merc to everyone. Then I like that. I kind of like that. It brought it. You were like, oh, okay, this is new. it changed it up, and it was with the times. Daniel Craig famously said, "What would you say? What would you say to the new Bond taking over?" And he famously said, "Don't fuck it up." So I think he's left such an imprint now on the Bond fans. I would like to have seen him do more, to be fair.
Me too.
Honestly, I really would like to have seen him do more. I'm gutted that he's stopped. And I thought it was a shit ending on the Bond. Have you seen the last Bond? You've seen the last
Yeah,
one.
of course. It's like it's spoiler alert.
Yeah, shit ending. I'm not gonna say bad
No.
ending.
It was a bad. It could have ended better. Like
I like this is not spoiling it for the fans, but as a Bond fan, the minute I saw the Aston Martin at the beginning of that film, and was it No Time to Die, and it had "We'll Have All the Time in the World," which is obviously paying homage to Her Majesty's Secret Service, who was Lazenby. Straight away, I was like, my mate that I went with, I was like, and he's a massive Bond fan. I'm like, Her Majesty's Secret Service, fuck, And I think you had the old Aston Martin that Sean Connery had in Goldfinger, and then later on you had the Aston Martin that Timothy Dalton had
in the
Living
Daylights.
Even with the same number plate, WUU. Even that I was like, yes, they're playing homage to some of the stuff that has gone before, and we'll have all the time in the world. I kind of like that was quite cool.
I loved it.
But I think, do I have my thoughts on Shrewsbury Bond? Have you seen Luther?
No.
I've seen the latest one on Netflix.
Okay, so that's the guy you think?
Well, no. So Idris Elba. But if you watch, this is a bit of a spoiler now. Watch Luther, the film Luther on Netflix. I'm sure you guys will have it before us, but watch that. At the end of it, you're like, oh, they've done an ending where you go, is that a clue? Watch that. You'll be like, oh. As a Bond fan, you're like, oh shit. Are they suggesting you watch it? Spoiler alert.
Well, there are rumors that Idris might be, but then they're saying that they want to go with like an unknown Brit, like Aaron Tyler Johnson, who was in Godzilla, which is kind of a weird.
Who's the dude in Bullet Train? Is that him?
Yeah, I think so. There was him. There was
Aiden
Thompson.
He was the X-Men kid. He was an X-Men.
Something like that. There was a guy in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that they wanted to bring on that apparently had like some Dalton and Craig energy to him.
Yeah.
But
there's talk now of, I've got to Google it because I can't remember the name of the guy. There's talks of hang on, a guy. We've got a program here called it's on Netflix as well, called Happy Valley. And there's a guy that's in that, and apparently he was muted to be Bond. And hang on, Happy Valley cast. Hang on.
Yeah, he's just looking up something here,
James,
guys.
James Norton. Did you say James Norton?
James Norton or Knowlton?
Norton. Norton. James Norton. So he starred in something here called Happy Valley, and he, as the Happy Valley season 3, I think it was going on, the odds were going up that he might become Bond. Tom Hardy's been in the running, or has been suggested. I'd like, that'd be cool. Tom Hardy as Bond. I think that'd be cool. There was also a thing on TV on Netflix called The Bodyguard.
Yeah,
I think
that guy, Richard. What's his name? Richard something.
It's Scottish guy.
Yeah.
There's him. So that he could. I think he was in a superhero film recently as well.
He was in Game of Thrones. He played Robb Stark in Game of Thrones.
Okay, I've not seen that. Yeah, so him as well. I don't know. You see, the only thing I'd seen was Daniel Craig before Bond was Layer Cake. Oh, and I saw him in that Angelina Jolie from Tomb Raider.
Yeah, he had a
Tomb Raider. He's had a small part in Tomb Raider, but I saw him in Layer Cake, and I really liked him in Layer Cake. I thought he was really good in Layer Cake. Have you ever seen that with Sienna Miller?
No, but he was in Munich as well. He had a very good role in Munich. He played a very difficult role too. And that's where, because I remember when they named him on my 14th birthday, everyone on the forums at the time were like, fuck this. We're not watching Bond. We want Brosnan back. But Brosnan was like 50. He was like he's already 50 years old. Like he was pushing Roger Moore territory.
Yeah.
And it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy.
I never liked Brosnan. As a kid growing up, when I first started watching Bond as a kid, my earliest memory of Bond was obviously I grew up in the 80s, so
Mhm.
Roger Moore was my Bond, my
Mhm.
era Bond. Then obviously went into Timothy Dalton. I liked Timothy Dalton better than Roger
Pierce.
Moore and Pierce Brosnan.
Me too.
So for me, it's Sean Connery, Timothy Dalton,
Lazenby,
no,
Craig.
Daniel Craig. Although George Lazenby did a good job.
He did.
I think he did a good job. And do you know why? Do you actually know why he didn't do any more? Do you know why?
Because I know the story apparently had to do with like they offered him 7 more films. They were gonna, and then his friend told him, "Don't do it. It's not a good
Don't do
deal."
it. His manager said, "Don't do it because you'll get typecast with Bond for the rest of your life." What has he done since Bond?
Nothing.
So goddamn, But I thought he did a really good job of it.
And he fooled the hardest people in the business. He had no acting credentials. He just
Well,
went.
do you know how he got his break? Cubby Broccoli was having a haircut.
Yeah.
Was in a barber's, and he walked in the barber's in a suit that he'd bought like Connery. He'd gone to the same tailor as Connery and got the suit and walked in, gave it to Charlie Big Bollocks in the barber's. Cubby Broccoli was like, "Who the fuck is this guy? We need this guy as Bond." He basically blagged Bond, got in and smashed it. And actually, my claim to fame, I've actually been to the revolving restaurant. It's a revolving restaurant now in Switzerland, where Savalis, where the scene was on the mountain there. It's now like a Bond museum and restaurant there. So it's mad, pretty mad. It's in Switzerland. But yeah, George Lazenby was really good. It would have been nice to see Lazenby do some more.
Do you know that Timothy Dalton was considered for that role? They went to him, but he said, "I'm too young for Bond."
Too young, and also as well. So too young, and then sadly, he did Living Daylights and what did he do?
Living Daylights and License to Kill.
And License to Kill. He was meant to do Goldeneye. Did you know that?
Yep. And you know who the original Goldeneye cast was? This is what they said. So apparently Pushkin was supposed to come back. Robert Dry Davies was supposed to come back and as like Pushkin in the post-Soviet Russia. Alan Rickman was supposed to be Trevelyan, and Catherine Zeta-Jones was supposed to be Xenia.
Oh, imagine that. Alan Rickman.
That would have been Shakespearean. That would have
banging that. It was wicked. Alan Rickman. I mean, Catherine Zeta-Jones. Yeah, she was hot. She's still hot now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could see that. Oh man. But yeah, he turned it down, didn't he? No. Apparently, who was it? They were in a legal battle.
It was Eon and MGM because there was supposed to be a Bond film that came out 3 days after I was born on the 17th of November in 1991 called Property of a Lady, and there was and there was supposed to take place in Asia, where it was supposed to be with what's his name, Anthony Hopkins, as like a mentor to Bond. Like I was gonna look at like one of Bond's mentors. So then, that's what's supposed to happen. But yeah, there's a whole legal battle. The Timothy Dalton's time was tragic.
It was. Well, I'm gonna throw a question to you now.
Yeah.
This is a quiz question. This is a quiz.
Okay.
And your answer will determine whether you're a big Bond fan like I am. As big a fan than I am.
Okay.
Okay. So I want you to name me the Bonds starting from the very first Bond.
Sean Connery, George Lazenby, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, and Daniel Craig.
Has there never been another Bond?
There's never been another Bond. There was the Casino. Sean Connery. He was between Roger Moore. He came back with that. You never say never again.
Right. But what were you about to say before that?
I was gonna say it was gonna be, there was a spoof of Casino Royale where they made
one. You are a fan. Okay, who played Bond?
I think it was Peter Sellers, the late Peter Sellers.
Or was it David Niven played Bond? I can't remember whether I
can't remember, but I know Peter Sellers was like in that film.
Yeah, Peter Sellers was in it. He's a massive Peter Sellers fan, but I can't remember whether David Niven.
Yeah, I'm
sure David Niven played the retired Bond.
Yes, because there's like different Bonds. There's like retired Bond. There's like
So there wasn't. There were. So Okay, I'm impressed, my friend. Fist bump to you, man.
This
I'm impressed.
I knew it. Yeah,
I'm
no.
impressed.
I have
Okay,
like my
okay.
favorite, but my first Bond film for me was The Living Day. It's weird because in 1999, my dad, when my parents were divorced, my mom was very strict. You know, have to follow routine. My dad was like laissez-faire, do whatever you want. You know, you got to be a kid. So my dad introduced me to Bond, and it's like my memory was I remember watching GoldenEye, but I also remember The Living Daylights being my first Bond film, and that's
Mm.
where my favorite scene. I could watch it over and over again, even with my autistic brain I have. It's this.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Sorry to butt in. I'm gonna
Yeah,
get you. I have another quiz question.
yeah.
Famously, one woman has sung two Bond songs in the history of Bond. Who is it?
Oh man, that's a good one. I gotta think. Okay, let me really think here. Okay, I gotta think. Let me think. Let me
So they
think.
get a famous singer to sing the Bond theme. One woman has famously sung two Bond themes. Who is it? And I've
I
met her. I was like, oh my god, I've met her.
I have a feeling it was the one from okay, I want to say it was Diamonds Are Forever and The Man with the Golden Gun.
God damn. Well, okay. It was Diamonds Are Forever, but it wasn't the man with the golden gun. It was Goldfinger.
Oh,
So
wow.
the woman that sang Goldfinger is the woman that sang
Diamonds
Diamonds
Are
Are
Forever.
Forever. Who is it?
I can't remember. It's like, but she's a famous singer though.
Shirley Bassey.
That's yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing, man. Shirley Bassey. That's
Shirley Bassey, yeah.
yeah, that was but for me, yeah, Living Daylights, yes, taking back to Living Daylights. That was my first film. And then my favorite scene was the when they do the Afghan air bait, the Afghan raid with the
Mm.
Mujahideen. The
Yeah.
cinematography for 1987. It's like a
Mm.
film that came out from today. You're like, and there's
I
no
know, I know.
music.
No, no,
You
no, no. It's mad, mad, mad. But
what
massive Bond fan. Massive. I love my Bond. So who do you think should be the next Bond then?
I want to see director. I do want to see Christopher Nolan because Christopher Nolan has said if I've read the novels and my favorite Bond is Timothy Dalton and Daniel Craig because they're the truest to the novel.
Yeah.
I want to see my choice for James Bond is gonna have to be. I would love to see it. My first choice is Idris Elba. Just let's see what he can do.
Okay.
But my second choice would have to be it would be the guy from Agents of Shield. I think his name is Aiden Thomas or something. Like he was a
Okay.
it's got to be like an unknown guy. Like I want to see that.
Well, you
Like
say an unknown guy. Hang on, let me just Google the guy that I saw. I thought apparently, the scene where they do the crossover and they turn around, they
yeah,
shoot. He's filmed that at Pinewood Studios apparently. So the guy they're looking at that could possibly be Bond, I think he's going to get it. Is this guy? Bullet Train cast. So it's a guy called Aaron Taylor Johnson.
that's the one I said. Yeah.
Oh, is that what he's? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Aaron Taylor Johnson. Yeah. So I think he's done the famous. Sorry, mate. I didn't know him by name. He's done the famous. When at the beginning when he's walking and he turns around and does it. He's filmed that at Pinewood. So he's got that far to come out. So I think he could be really good. And on Bullet Train, he was quite funny on Bullet Train. And he's like, okay, good looking guy, English. He's a little bit younger. So they've got some life in him for some films. Why would you turn Bond down, man? Why would you turn down George Lazenby? God, why would you turn that down?
I know. If Timothy Dalton had done two more films, at least two more, where do you think he would have ranked in terms of if his tale didn't end so tragically?
Well, he's a Shakespearean actor, isn't he? Timothy
Yep.
Dalton. He's actually trained as a Shakespearean actor, and I think that when I saw randomly, I was watching an interview with him when did the first Bond come out? His Bond come out?
87. Yeah.
87. So I was watching something when he was there, and they were asking him, "Oh, you're a Shakespearean actor. What do you think?" And he was saying that he wanted to bring a different type of Bond to it, and he was really trying to. He wasn't poo-pooing Roger Moore or Lazenby, but he was really trying to go back to the books. And he said that I think to bring up each and every one of them that played Bond, they have to obviously interpret the way they want to do it. And he said what he did, he just studied the books and really tried to come out with some sort of idea of how Bond should be. And I really liked him, but I think if he'd done another 3 films, I personally think it would have, and I think technology was getting better as well,
Yeah.
wasn't it? And cinematography and stuff. And I think maybe he would have ranked up there next to Connery. It would have been Connery and him. I think.
Yeah.
I think he was just a Roger Moore would look. Listen, I used to watch Roger Moore in Saint. I used to, obviously reruns of the
Mhm.
Saint. I watched him in is it the Persuaders?
The
With
Templar or whatever it is. Yeah.
Tony Curtis, the Persuaders,
Mhm.
was it? That was quite funny too. Playboy guys, and then obviously Bond, and he was great. Some of the shit he used to do when he flipped the car, you're not going to do what I think you do. I sure am, boy, and stuff like that. He was quite funny, but he was a bit tongue in cheek. He was kind of like a bit of a wuss, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Some of the shit that he wore, he looked like he was going to like the jungle, like doing a safari type thing. And you think,
An octopus. Yeah, that was.
yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. I'm not sure about this. It's some of the shit that he'd say and do. I don't know. So I think Dalton would have been for me. It would have been Sean Connery, Dalton, and Lazenby. If Lazenby had done a few
Yeah,
more.
and maybe Craig, because this is how I look at it. If Timothy Dalton had done Property of a Lady and Goldeneye, which was written for him, so
Mm,
this is how I look at it. So 1989, there's a 6-year break after License to Kill.
yeah,
So Property of a Lady comes out, Goldeneye comes out.
that's
In
more wine.
19,
Sorry, mate.
okay, no problem. Just pouring some more wine. He's had a long day, guys. He's got some announcements coming soon. But yeah, so 1995, Pierce Brosnan comes on after the Remington Steel long waited. But here's the funny thing: Pierce Brosnan has the worst outing as Bond for Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and Die
Mm,
Another Day. That then
mm.
Daniel Craig revives it, and Timothy Dalton has a conversation with him and says, "Hey, do what I did." And then that's where Daniel Craig succeeds. So that's how I look at it. If there was no
Yeah,
contract, because
yeah, yeah, and I don't know. I just think I really like what they did with Bond with Craig. I really
me
liked what
too.
they did. I really fucking like what they did, and I was scared. My dad apparently my dad's a massive film fan, and I think that's where I get it from. And he said when he was in Mauritius, he used to go and he used to cry. If someone died in a film, he'd cry. He'd actually cry. And I remember being a kid going, "Why'd you cry for the film, Dad?" But I remember, obviously, I'm gonna spoil alert. But obviously, the ending of the last Bond, I walked out going, "I really like this Bond, man. Why? I really like this
Why does
Bond
this have to
because
be the last one with him?
why?" And I just such such a good Bond. You're always gonna. I mean, he did that. He's done that new film, isn't it? Murder mystery film recently.
Yeah.
He's a good actor because I've seen him in other stuff, and I'm like, this dude has got some serious talent. But I love him as Bond, man. I really do love him as Bond. And I know actors are probably like, I don't want to be remembered for just one character. Okay, Sean Connery, right?
Mm-hmm.
What other films do you like him as or in?
Well, I remember him in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
And do you know what Spielberg and the other dude, what's his name?
Harrison Ford.
No, so Spielberg and who directed the
Lucas.
film? It was Lucas and Spielberg, wasn't it? They said the only person that could possibly play Indiana Jones's dad is James Bond.
Yeah.
Is Sean Connery? Okay, another question. The 1990 film or 1996 film, The Rock, with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Does Sean Connery's character resemble 007? Is it 007 that's put in prison? You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I remember watching The Rock and
SAS,
scenes of it.
they put him away. SAS, they put him away.
Yeah.
He's come back. He's like an old man now. He was in the Queen's SAS, he says. And he's like, I'm an old fucker. I can't swim now. Back from the Rock and stuff like that. You kind of think he's playing like a James Bond character there, isn't he? Really?
Yeah.
He's like an old James Bond. The fuck, they can't do anything anymore except remember how to get into the Alcatraz.
Yeah. Did you ever hear about the story of how they got him back for Diamonds Are Forever? It's really funny.
Diamonds Are Forever. The 71. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, he's a bit grey. It's a bit grey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened?
In the car in Vegas, yeah.
Yeah. So what happened was Lazenby was not going to come back. Roger Moore, they were trying to get. Roger Moore was tied to another project. He's like, look, he goes, after this film, like, you want me as Bond, I'll sign on. So Sean Connery they brought back, and Sean was like, "I'm not coming back." So Cubby Broccoli said, "Give him anything he wants, whatever he asks for, give it. We need him back. We're in crisis mode." So they paid him at the time like the most ever. And Sean Connery said, "You're gonna give me the highest paid for an actor to represent this role because I'm in demand here now. No, I know now I'm in demand."
What was I tell you what I don't know. Sorry to butt in, mate. What was the time difference between playing Bond before? I don't know that.
It was 2 years. So 1969 On Her Majesty's Secret Service came out, and then
okay,
2 years.
But what about when Connery last played Bond before Diamonds Are Forever? When did he play Bond before that?
1967. So 4 years. It's a 4-year difference.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. So yeah.
And he just said he retired in 1967, and it's like that really like it's lucky they got Lazenby, but when they brought him back for Diamonds Are Forever, you could tell look, it wasn't his best day at the office for that one.
No, it wasn't good. For me, here's a random question for you.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about so my favorite Bond film, and I actually have the songs on my phone. My favorite Bond film is You Only Live Twice.
Okay.
Now, randomly, when I was a little kid, my dad used to play the Bond films all the time. And I remember him playing You Only Live Twice a couple of times. And I remember watching it, and I used to love the music when he was running on the rooftop, Tokyo, and Little Nelly, the helicopter. What randomly has a connection to that film?
Kyokushin Karate, because Masoyama met with Sean Connery in that.
But there's also some of his students.
Yes,
when going,
Tiger Tanaka.
Tanaka's place.
Yeah.
So, which is random, and I had a real connection to that film, and I loved that film. I remember watching that film. My dad had it on tape. He recorded it on tape, and I kept watching it. And then years later, I remember read about Oyama giving him an honorary black belt, and I was thinking, wow, that was the one that really, out of all the films that stood out for me, that one stood out the most, with Little Nelly and the way he went to the sumo, and the way the Tanaka looked after him, and the girls were like seeing Western guys for the first time, or like massaging him and whatever else. I was like, yeah, this is me. I love this film. But yeah, do you know why? What was the one he did with Kim Basinger? Never Say Never Again. Do you know why it was called Never Say Never Again?
It had to do with the contract rights with Kevin. What's his name? It was like there was like a whole contract issue with the rights of Thunderball and.
Well, Connery famously said, "Would you play Bond again?" He went, "Well, never say never again." So they made the film title.
Oh wow! And they didn't even put the famous gun barrel scene. They just started it.
No. Well, the reason why they didn't, right? I don't know. I'm going to comment. My mate Ollie is literally even more
than us.
Honestly, the shit that guy knows. I'm like, his dad. When I went into so Ollie's a graphic designer. Ollie did Kyokushin as well. We kind of both left with Under a Dark Cloud. Okay. Another story for another time. Another bottle of wine. Another story for another time. But Ollie is a graphic designer and good fighter, strong fighter. Not like Flair or anything like that. Just a strong man. And his dad is a graphic designer as well. And his dad had, when he walked in his house, he had famous pictures on the wall of the drawings of the sets from back in the day, in Sean Connery's time. He knew the guy that made the sets of Connery for the Bond films when Connery was there. But what was I going to say? I fucking digress.
Why they didn't have the gun barrel?
Well, apparently that film isn't part of the Bond collection. Never Say Never Again. It's not part of the book.
MGM,
and all that shit. So that's why you don't see the typical Bond beginning and all that sort of stuff. It wasn't part of that. They just wanted that guy. They just wanted that. They wanted Sean Connery. He was the cash cow. He was Bond. But the thing is, when you bring him back then at that age, I mean, I thought it was really funny. They had him in like a health farm.
Yeah, I remember that.
That I loved. That I thought was wicked. When he had that little, exercise at the beginning where he was jumping through the thing and shooting everyone. Like, a bit slow. And they sent him to the health farm. I thought that's wicked because they're appreciating and they're acknowledging that he's fucking old. But Yeah, they brought him back a little bit too old, I think.
There was. What's your favorite gun barrel of all the Bond films? That's a tough one. That's a tough. I know. What's your which one make that oh you always remember that will always that is your favorite?
Yeah, see, I'm gutted. I'm going to say this because I always saw Roger Moore first because I was a kid in the '80s, so I remember my dad saying to me, I remember watching like when I was a kid, I had the Lotus toy that went in the water. That
Yeah,
went
The
into
Spy Who Loved
submarine.
Me.
Yeah, that was on telly the other day. See that, and they had loads of. They had the other day I was getting in from work, and they had loads of Roger Moore films on. So you had Live and Let Die, love that. So I think he was always the first guy with the flares, 70s, walking along, and I remember vividly that. I think as time's gone on, so that's the one I first remember. But I think for me, the way he walks, the swag is Craig. It's Craig, even more than Connery, man. It just looks like a weapon, doesn't he? He looks like he can handle himself, and he's got that walk and his turns, bang. So it's him. Okay, here's a question for you: favorite Bond song?
For me, okay. That's a very, very tough one because it's always between A View to a Kill and Living Daylights.
Okay. See, I like all the Bond songs because I love A View to a Kill. Again, 80s, got that proper 80s. Was it it was Aha? Aha that sang A View to a Kill? Was it Aha? Simon Le Bon. Yeah, Aha. So I've got I like that. The other ones that have come and gone, but I think for me it's You Only Live Twice.
Yeah.
And Live and Let Die, man, because I'm a massive Beatles fan.
Yeah.
So
Paul McCartney. Yeah.
You only Live and Let Die. Such a tune. Play it all the time in the gym. Live and Let Die.
For me, it's like I'm whenever like I used to use my parents' car, I'd always like on the freeway. I used to blast like View to a Kill because it's got like that mid '80s like rave. And then Aha 2 is pretty good, but when it comes to the gun barrel though, it's got to be License to Kill is my fave. It's so dark because License to Kill was the realest you got to the novel.
Okay. Here's a question for you. So at the beginning of Aha, I mean, people are going to be watching this, be like, these two, goddamn. The beginning of Aha, beginning of Living Daylights, Le Bon is on the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
And he says something. What does he say before the song kicks off?
No, that's in the View to a Kill, right?
Sorry, View to a Kill, sorry.
I can't remember, but it wasn't the Eiffel Tower. It was in they were in like the snow base in Siberia. Remember, there was like the
no. The video of. Hang on, I'm getting confused here. Simon Le Bon sung "The Living Daylights."
Yeah, that's Timothy Dalton's film. Yeah.
Yes, right. At the beginning of that video of that, what does Simon Le Bon say on the Eiffel? Was it the Eiffel? It is the Eiffel Tower. It is the Eiffel Tower. What does he say?
I don't remember. I can't remember.
He says Bon, Simon Le Bon.
Simon. Okay.
And then the song kicks off.
There we go. But but License to Kill is my favorite because Robert Davi, who played Sanchez, darkest villain of all time. And especially how Bond kills him with the lighter at the end. That was just savage. Where he's like, you could have had everything, and then Bond goes, "Don't you want to know why?" And he has that lighter that Felix gave him, and it's so poetic how he just lights Sanchez on fire.
Yeah.
That was my favorite.
Okay. Question for you. I'm coming out with random questions now about Bond. So in what is the one with Zorin?
That's A View to a Kill. That's Christopher Walken.
Okay. So what Kyokushin connection has View to a Kill got?
Dolph Lundgren has a cameo appearance as a security
guard.
And how
does Dolph Lundgren get in that film?
Because he was friends with Grace Jones, but
he was fucking Grace Jones.
He was a friend with benefits with her. Yeah, he had a fling with her.
Yes. And how did Grace Jones get to know about Dolph Lundgren?
Because it has to do with him coming to the U.S. on a scholarship, and she was a model in the U.S. I think, right?
Apparently, she saw, so legend has it, she saw him fight and wanted him to do her security, then brought him over to America. She was the one that introduced him to Stallone for
Rocky IV.
Rocky IV. She said, I know this guy that's wanting a guy to play Russian. So she was in there. So yeah, not a lot of people know that he only a small part. Then he was at like the race course.
He was at the race course where Grace Jones like picks up like one of Gogol's men, and then Gogol's like, just remember that, like, who made you, and then you see Dolph.
I've got another question for you, and I know you're not going to get this now.
Okay.
So in the film, people are going to be watching this and be like, I'm going to switch this shit off. I don't want to listen to Bond.
Fuck them. Who cares? I don't care.
Fuck them. Right. So in the film, You Only Live Twice.
Yeah.
There is someone's famous granddad that stars in that film that is one of the biggest grossing action actors today. Who is it?
Oh, man.
One of you guys.
One of you guys.
One of Americans. Who is
it? Is it?
Who would you say is your biggest action star now today?
Biggest action star. What the fuck? There's so many.
I'll give you a clue.
Jason Statham, I could say.
No, American.
American.
Got a haircut like me.
Tom Cruise.
Got a haircut like me.
Pardon?
He's got a haircut like me.
The Rock. His dad was the sumo wrestler.
The Rock's granddad.
Yeah.
Do you know when Connery? You know when Connery, he goes to visit the guy that's talking to him that gets hit with a thing in the neck.
Yes.
The guy's name is
Charles. The actor's Charles Henderson, but he played an expat.
Yeah. So then Connery goes into the car, pretending he's got a stomachache with a mask on, I think, sits on the back of the car. There's a sumo guy. And then he carries on my shoulder, and they have a massive fight with a sofa. That's the Rock Johnson's granddad.
That's crazy. Wow. It's crazy how history, like, that's amazing.
You know what? I'm going to Google that now, just in case I'm wrong. So, no, it is his granddad. It is his granddad. Wait, hang on. The Rock granddad. Yeah, the Rock's granddad. I just put the Rock's granddad, and it comes up the Rock's granddad in James Bond. So I'll go. In an interview with LA Bio, The Rock revealed a nice factoid of his family, specifically his grandfather, the owner of Hollywood. The owner of the Hollywood revealed grandfather Peter Mavier played the role of a villain in 1967's You Only Live Twice, which features Sean Connery. So yeah, that can you see?
I can see a bit, but I believe if you Google it, I mean, it's that
guy.
Yeah, that's him. That's
Boom.
him. I remember it. Yeah, I remember him.
That guy with a big sofa. When he picked up the sofa and rammed it into Sean Connery. Yeah. That's the Rock's granddad. You heard it first on here. Boom. So if you didn't know that, you know it now.
Exactly. So we've done enough. Yeah. So moving on from the James Bond talk, because we could go on for hours with that.
Man.
So what's the next? Yeah, exactly. You know, let's keep it on here for just a bit more. So yeah, Pierce Brosnan. Where do you think Pierce Brosnan failed? Where, like, because some people adore Pierce, but people like me and you, I like Pierce, but I just feel it was the timing was off for him.
Pierce Brosnan. I just think, okay, let me talk personally about Pierce. I just think Pierce Brosnan was they tried to do that whole Roger Moore thing. I think there's a bit very, very reminiscent of Roger Moore with a tongue in cheek. He just didn't look. I don't know. He just didn't look like he could handle himself either. He just didn't look Bond. You know, you say that, but then you think Timothy Dalton. He didn't look like he could handle himself. But I think, I just didn't like him. I just didn't gel with him as an actor as Bond. I watched them because I like Bond, and you get into it, don't you? But I never really sat there and went, I could watch that again. I definitely watch that again. Like Craig's films, I just watch them over and over again. But you know, if I see it, I'll come in and Skyfall's on, or you know, Time to Die, whatever, I'll watch it again. But if one of his is on, I'm like, maybe I won't watch that.
Yeah.
I think. Did you ever see the scene when they did the? What was the one where he went? He went to the dude's the ice
Die
thing,
Another Day.
Die Another Day, with the dude with the diamonds in his face
Yeah,
and
Zhao.
Hal Berry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when he literally drove the car off and he like got the
Parasail, whatever it is. Yeah.
what the fuck? Did you? I mean, that was terrible. That was terrible.
That was worse than Roger Moore in A View to a Kill. I'm sorry.
Oh
Like,
yeah, it was bad. And you think, damn, really? This is really bad. I don't know. I just didn't like him as Bond. Why do I think people don't like him as Bond? Is that a question you asked me?
yeah,
People not really
it's
gelling with
very
him as Bond?
divided. It's very divided. Like, how do English people feel about Pierce? Because it seems like North Americans really liked him, but it seems like I don't know what's
I
the
don't know.
British attitude?
I never really asked the question. I mean, my friend's a big Bond fan, like I said, and he's a bit up in the air about him. He's a bit up and down with him. I don't know. He just didn't get the juices flowing. I don't know. No, I don't. I haven't asked too many people what they think of him. I just know I personally didn't really gel to him. So put it this way: when Craig went, I was too young when Roger Moore went and Dalton came in. It wasn't really having an effect on my life. I wasn't a film buff as I am now. When Pierce Brosnan came in, I remember him coming in early 90s. I was whatever. When he went, I wasn't really bothered. When Craig went, I was gutted. I was absolutely gutted. I was like, mate, why? So yeah, for me, he didn't really have the impact on the Bond franchise as Craig for me. I think a few people think that as well.
Yeah. You know what's crazy too? Like, you know, like how like in the public eye, like you look at them in interviews, like Connery carries himself well. Roger Moore was meant for the camera. Timothy Dalton is like the very shy. He's got like Sammy, I love you, but like I feel like I'm talking about Sammy and Timothy Dalton have a lot in common. You know why? They don't like being on camera. Like you see Dalton.
Yeah. Dalton's a bit shy.
He likes to live very quietly.
Yeah.
Sammy, and that's a compliment. I'm saying you're like the Timothy Dalton of yeah. So
yeah.
Sam's gonna watch
really
it and be
like Timothy Dalton.
Yeah, we like Timothy Dalton. And, you know, then you look at Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig loved giving interviews, but then after the press just got stupid with their questions where they were like they're asking him like stuff where he must have been like, what the fuck are you asking me this for? So.
Yeah, I think we really did get into Craig as well. Like we had the 2012 Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a famous scene where Daniel Craig turns up at Buckingham Palace. I don't know if you saw it.
I saw that. I remember.
The Queen. And he's like, she goes, oh, 007. And then they walk out and you think, yeah, you see, everyone just loves him as Bond. That's our Bond. Daniel Craig is our Bond. And I just think, I think, I'm going to throw a statement out here now. I think that Daniel Craig is the closest to Sean Connery.
Mm-hmm.
That I think if you I've said it before, if you put all the Bonds in one room, Connery and Craig will be walking out smoking cigars. All the rest would be dead.
Yeah.
They would have just filled them all in. They'd be dead.
Exactly. So yeah, now Darren, what are you planning to do now? Like with now that COVID's done, the endemic is here. We moved on. Everything's open. Yay! What's going on now with your boxing and karate?
So I am really busy with the boxing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's taking over. I've got an amateur team.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of kids fighting in the amateur teams and stuff. And we're just about to start taking on pros again. It kind of went quiet around obviously COVID and all that crap. And then coming back, it's been a bit of a slow process building it all up. I had a bit of a change around at the gym. My business partner at the time, who's a very good friend of mine, still is a very good friend of mine, he set up a plumbing business and that's just gone through the roof. So he stepped back as a business partner. Mm-hmm. So it's been a bit of a struggle, you know, running the gym with all the fighters, with everything, you know, the day-to-day run of it and all that sort of stuff. So that's taken up a lot of my time. And, you know, I put a gi on for the first time last year, thanks to Simeon and Darren. And, you know, thanks to Kaicho Bernard Cretan, firstly. And then to get me back in the dojo, it was Darren and Simeon that got me in the dojo last year. And they gave me the buzz back when I went training with them. And I think, you know, I was like, right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. And I think I wanted to set a few things up, maybe come back and have a tournament and things. What I didn't appreciate was the magnitude of the job ahead and the task ahead with the gym that I was running, or I am running. And what I've come to realize is it's full time. It's kind of, you know, with now 2023, a year later, COVID is a thing of the past, touch wood. And I have a new business partner. We're just about to change it into another gym name and go down a different route. Still doing boxing, still doing my Thai boxing, still doing the stuff that we're doing. But it's changing. I mean, like, you know, I said to you earlier, you know, how the gyms have been renovated as we speak now. It's actually guys that are in there 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, they're there now working. So things are changing in that respect. As far as karate is concerned with me, obviously, like I said last time we spoke, I'm with Jitsu Kai, which is Kaicho Bernard Cretan style. For anyone that doesn't know who Kaicho Bernard Cretan or Bernard Cretan is, very big thing back in the 70s, 80s, late 70s with BKK, was the BKK knockdown Great Britain coach. Went to the Japanese 79 World Tournament and placed 6th, I think. Howard Collins placed 5th or 4th, 5th. He placed 6th. Now that's a big thing back in the day. Big gun. Left the BKK, as he says. His exact words were his star was rising. Didn't really like the way the route was going with the BKK. Left and started his own thing up. Kyokushin with a different badge, but then it had his slant on it as well. I then came through the ranks, did that, ended up going back to Kyokushin. He immigrated to Denmark, and that's my story with him. Gone back home, gone back to Bernard Cretan after I left the BKK. I had to step down from the BKK and leave the BKK. I realised that wasn't going to be my place to stay anymore. So that's another story for another time. So left the BKK, went back to him, and it's been up and down. I mean, in terms of me setting up karate, in terms of me doing karate, as I've said to him, I had all these plans with trying to set up dojos, but what I'm realizing is these fighters that I've got, these boxers, they need me, and it's taken up every day of the week. You know, I'm struggling to see my own family because it's literally full on. If I'm not working in a gym, I'm at shows. If I'm not there, I'm training them. If I'm not there, I'm doing their paperwork. It's just full on, or matching them. But karate is on the agenda. And I think I started doing some training with Darren Stringer. And then obviously the BKK and the BKK split. You know, obviously there was a political move going on. Things happened. There's a split, and now the BKG has been born. And obviously you've got the guys running the BKG.
Oh, hold that thought right there. I just got to fix something because just give me 1 second. Hold that train of thought, okay?
Go for it, man.
I'm back. Just had to turn on my lights because it's getting dark. I forgot to turn on my lights like 11. See what happens when I get engaged with you? Because like we have that chemistry.
I know. I got this endearing quality. Just keep going on and it suck you in. So the BKG was born and formed, and it's made up of the people that I really fucking do respect and get on with. And you know, you've got someone in there, Noddy. Graham Warden, his godfather and his wife, godmother to my son. He's the one that took me to world level, along with Felix Tamaza, who's part of the BKG as well. And I think as time's gone on, there's a lot of water that's now crossed under the bridges that may have been slightly disrupted with some of the shit that went down in the past with things. And you know, like any organization, there's always friction in some degree with hierarchy or with with people within an association, within a organization. And unfortunately, I found myself I'm not going into any detail or not mentioning any names or slagging anyone off, but I found myself on the receiving end of a lot of friction, a lot of unnecessary, just a lot of shit. And things happened the way they did. BKG formed, and I found myself in and around those guys again. And they had a ball this year, for instance, and I went to the ball with my wife, and it was as though I'd stepped back in time. It was as though I was with the people that I'd grown up with, so to speak, that I had bled with, trained with, sweated with, gone around the world with, and I was like, this is cool. Anyway, time's gone on, and again, I'm like fast forward, like front foot in the gym with the boxing, and then I asked Kaicho Cretan if he might. Darren asked me if I wanted to compete for his dojo in kata and clicker. And do you guys do clicker? I'm sure you do clicker, which is the semi-contact stuff, and they have little thin clickers and they 30 point score. Darren and I are very good at clicker. He asked me if I wanted to compete, and I was like, yeah, you know what, I wouldn't mind doing that. And it's been on my mind to fight. I was going to fight again in Japan this year, and things like that, but work's just got in the way, and family stuff. And so I asked Kaicho Cretan if he would he object if I have a dual license with the BKG, and I am with Jitsu Kai, and I'm with the BKG.
Amazing.
He said no, and he said no. He said, look, and I was like, oh, I thought, shit, I'm going to ask the question now. I mean, he'll listen to this, and so I hope he hears. I thought he might say no, you're with us, but he actually turned around and said, it's how karate should be. It's how karate was always meant to be, as one, and everyone should be brothers, sisters, and everyone should get on, and everyone should be one. And I was like, wow. And if there's any reason to stay with Bernard Cretan, with Kaicho Cretan, it's that, that he's like, no, you must go out, you must do that. And so, yeah, I'm now affiliated to the BKG as well. I'm yet to train at Xian Darren's dojo, but I've got to train at his dojo. And yeah, there's hopefully some new horizons. What I'm finding now at 45 years old, and I'm sure a lot of karateka that will be listening to this will say the same thing. When I was 20 and I had to just get up in the morning and shower and not think of anything else other than just go to work to earn a bit of money to go training, it was really easy to compete, and it was really easy just to go to the dojo. Now at 45, as a business owner, as a dad, as a husband, as a brother, a son, an uncle, it's very hard now to be as selfish as I was at 20 years old, 25 years old. And so there's a lot more things now that get in the way. And you have, every morning I get up and think, yeah, I'm going to come back, and every night I'm retiring again. The other thing as well I'm finding is, and I'm not afraid to say, I've had a lot of knockdown fights, as a lot of people have if they've done 10, 15 years. You have a lot of tournaments and stuff, and my body isn't the body it used to be. So in the morning I get up in the morning, and it's like, wow, what's going to hurt today? And I find things really, I really do struggle with my body, and the way I smashed it to pieces training. So the journey of karate has not stopped whatsoever. In fact, it's only just beginning, really. It's like the next phase. And I'd like to think now, at 45 years old, I'm in a place now where I kind of got my cake and I'm eating it, because I'm with Bernard Cretan and Jitsu Kai, and I'm with Darren Stringer. He's my Xian, which is great, really. Darren Stringer, he's my Xian. My mate is my Xian. and I'm with the BKG. I think, like I said to Bernard, that being there can open doors for Jitsu Kai as well, because I can say, look, can we get some of these guys in, and I'm sure they'll be happy to do that and welcome people in, which they have been. They've invited them to train and stuff. And yeah, there's some fun times ahead, I think. So you know, we'll see how it goes.
That's amazing. And we're gonna conclude here because you are gonna come back. We got so much more planned. This is just the beginning. Like, it's always to be continued with whether it's Darren Stringer or you, Darren Chan. You know, man, I'm so glad you could come on
I love
to
the fact
make
that
this weekend.
I'm on this just drinking wine. This is real Kyokushin. Drinking wine, eating Maltesers. That's quite bad, really. It's not really not a good image. Like, has anyone got on here and been sipping wine while they're talking to you?
I had one person that was drinking water, but like that's because they were like done with the training. But I don't really
No.
care. I want my guests to be comfortable. Like it's not I don't
Yeah,
really care. Like
well, I know this is a podcast and we're doing this, but I'm not just saying this. It's like I'm chatting to a mate. It's not like, it doesn't feel like you're interviewing me, if that
no.
makes sense. We're just having a chat. Can you imagine when you come over? We're never going to shut up when you come
I
over.
know it's gonna be insane because I'm coming next year. So just to let you know, UK,
Yeah.
the Drew